Yeah, so well, we could think about some query that or prompt that we could use. I did some testing before. I had some nice conversations. Maybe before testing, I will talk a little bit about what we changed from the last time. So recently, the Llama 3 model was released, so I changed to that, and I'm still testing side by side how it compares to Mistral. I will do more testing of that because at some point it's I think that Llama 3 does better, and other in other cases Mistral looks like more detailed or something. So and I know how can I test in more detail to choose the right model. So I'll just need more time for that. Also, we are now testing on the new hardware. Before that, we did on CPU, and currently we are working with the GPU. So it's much faster. One answer can take like 10 seconds instead of 4 minutes or 8 minutes that was before. Yeah, and also I did improve some output of the model. When you ask output, sometimes, well, it was like like one string, one line, just yeah. And now it uses like a markdown or the format more, or just a little bit more convenient to read. So we could test something. For example, I don't know, maybe how to create an a staking pool on Cardano or something, for example. So it now takes about 10 seconds. When we will deploy it on server in Dockerized environment, it will be even faster then. Yeah, so it said creating staking pool on Cardano involves several steps. So prerequisites, what we need, all the steps, what we have to go through. Also, some code how to create some files that we will be needed for the staking pool, and all that information. It was took from Cardano design. Well, of some file that was ingested before, because I ingested into the system like about 200 megabytes uh, Cardano documentation, and now we have the model has access to that and can use it as a source for answering questions. Yeah. So maybe you have some questions we could test on.
Anyone
Yeah.
has any prompts? Or Alex, what is your question?
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking. So at Gimbal Labs, we have like not a big problem, but actually a nice use case for this application. So my goal is to create a faucet validator in Icon. And if you could generate the instruction for that and post it somewhere so that I can test it with Gimbal Labs learners, and we can try it in the wild.
Okay.
A what
Yeah.
validator?
Faucet validator. Faucet validator is a smart contract, which means tokens. When you address, when you send a transaction, it returns to you the tokens which are programmed into it.
Yeah, okay. A faucet in Icon.
Yeah. I will spell the word faucet.
Yeah, so this, yeah, we can do that now. This will be available to community to test in some later time. I guess it's in 2 months. I can be wrong, but I'll check the milestones. But this will be public at some point, so you can even test yourself. But I see a hand raised.
Yeah, that was Alex.
I think that was Alex. Yeah, that was Alex.
Okay,
I lowered it.
That's the chat. Yeah, faucet. So a faucet validator with icon, right?
Exactly.
Okay. I'll just ask, can you write a faucet validator or just validator as an example with icon? Okay, just let's ask that.
So while we wait for this answer, this is pretty cool. Last time you showed this, it was everyone. Oh wow.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah, it used icon language and it produced some code. We should also verify it and test
Yeah,
it.
so could you post it somewhere in the Intersect Discord, for example? I can copy it and make experiments.
Okay, of course, I will do that. Someone was saying something.
Yeah, I
about-
think Darlington's got a question. Darlington, do you have a question? Yeah.
Uh-huh. This is fun. Super cool. I was going to ask, like, what kinds of queries is it good at? For example, could this be an interface for making sense of Catalyst or Voltaire proposals?
Yeah, it knows proposals. It knows all CIPs. Well, well, our scraper also goes into CIPs documentation and downloads everything from that. So you can ask anything that involves CIPs. Um, and also, if you want, you can also include other documentation. Maybe you want to, maybe you have some book or something that you don't have time to read, so you can ingest it and then ask questions from that.
You have
Uh,
ingested Haskell books with this, right?
yeah, Haskell also. And it was fun when I ingested Haskell book, which I bought. I asked question about my name. Just do you know Ricardus? And it said, okay, you might bought that book. So it was kind of strange because in the metadata it found that book that I bought. It was licensed to me.
Oh
So
wow.
nice,
So
yeah.
it learns from the whole chain, like everything, like it's taking in all information. It's like should I say like well, we said chat GPT last time, but it feels like you can educate this thing by
Yeah,
feeding information to it, right? Like
yeah. Yeah,
okay.
you can because if appears to own a license of Manning, okay, so it found that I
Uh-huh.
bought a book. So, but well, what interested me that it found that little detail.
Mhm.
So it was funny. I
Can it go
also
a step more than that? Can
yeah,
it
of
go a
course.
step more than just, I mean, if you say, well, I bought this book, but I also bought this, and then if I then search who is Ricardus, I mean, would it show up all the information that, I'm just saying, add it to it and give it to me?
Yeah,
Okay.
it
That's it.
it could, yeah, because it follows
Uh-huh.
the chat, like it's like conversational.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Okay.
well, the reason I asked it because I tried the Llama 3 model and it's open source, so I was looking for my name. Maybe when they did the Llama 3 model, when they trained it, maybe they used some data that maybe I am also involved. So because ChatGPT is very careful about these things,
Yeah.
so that's why I just wanted to test it. So and I found that little detail. Um, I also asked about what is Cardano? Can you give me examples of how can it be used in real life applications? So I was well, pleased that it conveniently listed things that Cardano can help with. Also, I followed the question, what is CIP 1694 about? And it used some information about from the 1964 CIP and answered the question. Also, I just continued. I am a developer, would like to get involved into flexible solutions development. Where should I start and what program languages are used for this? What could I even make? And it answered that. So to start, familiarize with the Cardano ecosystem. Languages, well, funny, it also said Rust. Yeah, but it's true. You can use Rust for Cardano.
Because you
So
fed it Rust documentation and Haskell documentation.
yeah, well, the documentation at the end, it will be much more elaborate. I know it will be
That's nice.
yeah. Now I'm currently not well too focused on that. I am focused on the solution that should work, but it will be a phase where I look into it more, into the documentation, ingesting. Yeah, so
May I just suggest that you also include Helios, please, because Helios has very nice documentation,
okay.
and because it's JavaScript based, it's accessible to many developers. So we will be very user friendly, and the people who are coming to Cardano will like just applaud us for being so like open-minded. Because Rust is a popular language, but not as popular as JavaScript, and Haskell is very obscure. And that's a problem which is discussed in developer experience working group and in the developer ecosystem survey, which I'm sure you used for like your proposal. So yeah, if you could add Helios because it has on-chain and off-chain functionality as well, and it's pretty nice user interface, be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I will. I will.
Thanks a lot.
The better the documentation they have, the easier it will be to implement them.
Yeah, like feel free to reach
Yeah.
out. I can point you to like specific instances because there is not only Git like the your standard Helios API reference and things like that, but as well one of the Helios maintainers they wrote a book which is called Smart Contracts with Helios, and it just gives a very nice and like accessible overview of just EU UTXO model and how Cardano works. And like if for a person coming to Cardano without Cardano experience, but with knowledge of JavaScript, Helios is one of the best choices because like it has abundant documentation, nice API, and the team is they maintain it and develop it. I see commits and user activity in Discord every week.
Okay, nice. I will definitely add it.
So, Ricardus, I've got a question. So, I mean, I know you've done the programming of Cardano Smart, and how's it getting? I mean, I'm just curious, how's it getting all the information? Is this like scheming over Google, or what does it do? I know ChatGPT does all this skimming of Google and Bing and all that, and gathers information even more than that. So, how is like how is Cardano Smart? Is it the same idea? Like that's how it's being done, or how do you?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I can answer. I can answer this question. So there are two steps. First, you put all the documentation in the folder. You can take whatever you want information put there, and the size or limit of the count isn't well you can do isn't limited, so you can do unlimited documentation. And then you do ingesting. So the script ingests the content. So what it does, it splits every file into some parts, reasonable parts, and then it uses this action like embedding. So and the embedding is like converting some sentence to a vector and to store to a vector database. And vectorial databases can be used, well, they are used by AI models. They can search, they'll semantically search from these databases. So when we write the prompt here, something, for example, I can continue the conversation, but when I write the prompt, the prompt is concatenated with the chat before and also with the sources that was found from this database, because the quick search of this database is done before before prompting the model. So it takes like half a second or so, and then generates the whole context with your prompt, and only then gives to the model to ask a question. So model gets the context, the excerpts from the books or some documentation, and also your question, and also the history of conversation. And then it generates the answer, and also it's been tracked in the chat. So, and for that we use D-quadrant, database. Before that we used the Chroma, but D-quadrant is better for documentation. So if that answered your question.
Yeah, and I think Alex has a question. Alex, do you want to just, I think he's,
Yeah, I don't know like much. I follow just like on a shallow level, like this LLMs and things, and didn't do any training myself. But I've learned that beside knowledge embedding, there is another mechanism called RAG, retrieval augmentation learning. Did you consider that? And why did you choose knowledge embedding instead?
Yeah, so that is used when you train the model. For us, we don't train the model, the actual model. We only use the already open source and trained model, but we let this model to use our database, which is full of our documentation. So
All right, so RAG is more resource intensive, and you would need to like do much more work.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, we might test that approach. Of course, I'm keen to know which is better. Of course, it might be better when the model knows from itself, all has this all knowledge. But when you have ability to give a database to a model, this database can be unlimited size. So, and it also has its pros.
Awesome, thank you.
thank you. Awesome. So any other questions from anyone? We've got,
I wanted to say if you can show us writing some Bluetooth, right? Because since Bluetooth is highlighted, it looks a little bit better than icon.
Yeah, I can, of course, write a simple, for example, a simple validator using Bluetooth DX. Okay. I didn't specify what validator, what it should do, just, and it now, yeah, okay, so simple validator. Yeah, well, it recognized that as Haskell, but that is valid recognition because it's also a Haskell. But yeah, it generated that. So, well, of course, Pluto's setup is complicated. So you have to be more specific, or you have to have well, ask more questions, because if you want a real, not a snippet, but a real full application with Bluetooth, you have to ask more questions. You have to work with the model, not ask one question, of course.
got it. All right. Thanks for showing that off. This is really great because I remember on the first time when you showed Cardano Smart, we asked a question and it took a long time for it to come up with something, some answer. And now it's, it's improved and we can see how much work you guys have done. And it's so good that you guys have come back and shown us a more refined, and it's just absolutely, I'm quite interested to see where this heads towards, because this is absolutely really cool. From that day till now, I see a huge leap in improvement, and definitely a lot of amazing answers. And I just like how it's giving out all these answers. It just feels like I'm looking at ChatGPT versions of Cardano, which is absolutely amazing. Really cool build, man. Really hope to show it off to the community today on the recording. People were missing it, so this is definitely being recorded, so to just help people watch this, whichever country they're in. I know
Okay.
Tom is our friend in these sort of arenas. So yeah, thank you, Ricardos and
Thank you.
Sebastian.